Let's go now to business news with Nona Peltier. Nona, tell us about Ryman Healthcare. So this is the biggest retirement village operator. People might be familiar with the name. And they've had a solid increase in their first half-year profit. What's kind of driving it?
They called their result adequate, so that does say something. Nevertheless, they did make quite a reasonably good profit. Numbers were up, 11% to $188 million. And that included some revaluation gains that weren't realized. And also, when you look at their underlying profit, it was just up, 6% to $103 million. This is a pretty good result, but they called it adequate because I think they could have done better if they had their developments that they have in works had proceeded. So they've got I think about 12 different projects underway, and this is about half of them, there are a number of them in Melbourne, and the rest of them here in New Zealand, primarily Auckland. But they've had some delays. Some of the sites that they have are difficult to develop, so that they're not getting ahead with some of them. So, and also construction constraints in the Auckland market have also weighed down on the company. But they have their own construction team, and they're really expecting things to pick up in the rest of the year. So the market wasn't thrilled with the result, but look, it's still a pretty good company. And so their share price was down, 10 cents to $14.24. Still pretty good result, just the same.
So Amazon across the Tasman, and this is always an interesting debate. So there is talk brewing about how little they have paid in Australia in terms of tax.
I think it's 20 million Australian dollars against income revenue of $1 billion. Of course, they do pay the tax on profits, but they don't have to report their result in Australia as such. And because it is an overseas company, this is an interesting one because we have the same problem here in New Zealand. The companies, these big, large companies, which are making large profits, presumably, off their advertising revenue. And because a lot of, we can see it reflected in the media industry. So what the media industry isn't getting, the big companies like Facebook, Google, Amazon, etc., they're getting it. And so the OECD is leading a movement. We're hoping that there'll be some kind of decision by 2020. Which will address this across the globe so that one country won't be left as an outlier and being penalized in some way because of the way that, I guess if you tax me, then I'll tax you, that kind of idea. So they're working on it. It's going to be a multilateral, plan. We don't know what the details will be, but at some point, this is going to come to an end. I think that there will be ways of making these guys pay their fair share. So, that was a story out of Australia today. And so overall, our index, it fell 17 points to 10,958. And that there's a general downbeat mood in the market because there's concern now, you guessed it, China and the U.S. trade talks aren't really going that well. And some people are expecting that a Tier 1 deal might be deferred until next year. And so that's unsettled the market.
Spooking people.
Yeah, it's spooking people. Our dollar, though, it's holding steady at 64.1 U.S. cents, 94.3 Australian, and 49.6 pence, which is about where it was yesterday.
Yeah, thanks, Nona. Appreciate that. That's Nona Peltier with our business wrap.